And welcome back, everybody. Special shout out to the good folks at Tide 100.9 FM, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa. Also, PGA Tour Radio and Sirius XM, and the old Gab Box podcast on YouTube. We appreciate everybody for watching and listening. Hey, our next guest I'm excited about, Chris Wandell, is the Senior VP for Media at the PGA Tour, which, by the way, when you're the Senior Vice President of Media, that is like a 700-yard par five. There's a lot going on, and Chris is in the middle of some really cool things happening at the PGA Tour, and he joins us now. Chris, first off, great to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great, Doug. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate you spending the time.
Yeah, we were talking before we came on. You're a Washington Husky, and of course, Kalen DeBoer is now the head coach at Alabama. I'm in Alabama. Nick Saban, the legendary Nick Saban, was the protege of your famous coach, Don James, who won a national championship. So thus the connection between you, Washington, and Alabama. I guess you didn't realize that, right?
Oh, I realize that. I'm a third generation Husky, and we were season ticket holders during the great years of Don James, the Dog Father, as we call him. And Kalen almost got us a national championship, but we then lost him to Alabama. So now we're with our new guy.
Well, we're all good. We're all good as we move on in this crazy world of college sports. But let's talk about the crazy world of professional golf. And I wanted to ask you this, Chris, because I was so lucky to do some PGA Live events earlier in the year, and we'll do some more later in the year at this phenomenal production studio that debuted at the beginning of the year in Ponte Vedra, right next to the stadium course. I mean, Chris, I've been doing this a long time, and I've been at studios really all over the country and in some cases all over the world. I've never seen anything quite like what you guys have at PGA Tour Productions, which really is the epicenter of televised golf around the world. How proud are you of that facility? And what percentage are you using at this point as you hope to expand?
So we launched PGA Tour Studios officially in January of this year. We're super proud of it and very fortunate to have such an amazing facility in this crazy time in the world of golf. It's been many, many years in the making. I think that, as you know, as one of our hosts for PGA Tour Live, we've been producing and distributing tons of our own live content through both on our own platforms and through distributors for as long as I've been at the tour. I joined the tour in 2012. But really when we got, tons more content, and the opportunity and the requirement to produce more content was in the start of 2022 with our ESPN Plus deal, where we now produce more than 4,000 hours of live coverage across 35 events, 4 concurrent feeds. Those are domestically distributed through ESPN Plus. And then we send all those feeds out throughout our 40 plus international partners around the world. So when we started the deal with ESPN, we knew we had to go produce all this great content. We actually, our former production studio, which was called PGA Tour Entertainment, it's about 35 minutes south of here in Ponte Vedra.
Right.
We actually did it a combination in the studio, but mostly just trucks that were kind of stood up outside of the building. And we knew that as we think about the long-term future of the PGA Tour and content production, we're only going to do more and more and more. Fans crave all sorts of content, and we have lots of different ways we can serve fans with that amazing content. So we knew that we had to make the case to our executive team and our board to build PGA Tour Studios, and we're so happy and lucky that we did, just because we've, there's 4 studios in the building that do live content. We have room for more. We use a lot of other space for starting at the Players Championship there. This year, we are now doing our own world feed. So for the first time ever, we're actually producing like a completely separate live broadcast that is specifically designed for our partners outside the U.S. And, couldn't be more proud. And I think that most of the people that have set foot in the studio, yourself and other PGA Tour Live hosts and our other execs, sort of walk around and say, wow, I haven't seen a sports production studio like this in the time that they've been calling live sports, right? It's college football, live golf, whatever it might be.
I mean, Chris, it is phenomenal. It really is. And I do walk around in awe. And it is something to behold. I wanted to ask you this, and there's so many avenues I want to go, but right now it just seems to me, I mean, we're post-Tiger. He doesn't play much anymore. Obviously, the fact that Rory won the Masters, Scotty just won the PGA Championship. I mean, things seem to be on the major upswing. Ratings are up on all the networks, whether it's NBC or CBS. More people are watching PGA Tour Live than any other digital platform in professional sports. I mean, this is not hyperbole. I mean, this is a major positive upswing for professional golf, in particular the PGA Tour. Am I wrong in being this excited, or do you feel the same as you talk to the people around the building?
No, we really feel it. You know, guys like Scotty and Rory and all the guys that are now in their early 20s and even teenagers that were inspired by Tiger Woods, they're all coming up and they have so much more experience than, you know, the people that Tiger played against. And they're so good, they're so athletic, they're truly athletes that have been doing this since they were 7 or 8 years old and played, some turned pro right away and some played in these incredible college programs. And they come out, you know, like Luke Clanton just got named College Player of the Year, won the Ben Hogan Award. That guy's going to win. He's going to win on the PGA Tour. He's going to be
Yeah.
one of the many potential next stars that are going to follow in the footsteps of their heroes, Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler.
You know, it's interesting because when I met you several years back, I think it was at the Tour Championship when the commissioner introduced us, and you were just in the beginning of really getting involved with the social media aspect, because as the tour looks to, I mean, go to a younger demographic, that's what all professional sports leagues are doing. And under your tutelage, you guys have gone heavy into YouTube and X, Instagram, TikTok. I think it's phenomenal what you're doing. I guess it's something you had to do, right? I mean, it was out there, and the PGA Tour had to jump in to the deep end.
Yeah, we did. You know, since I've been at the tour, all the deals that I've worked on, all the teams I work with, we're constantly pushing each other to meet fans where they are and meet fans where they might be interested in consuming their first moment of content on the PGA Tour. We have the luxury and we're very fortunate to be able to distribute our live programming through CBS and Golf Channel and NBC and now ESPN Plus and 40 plus partners around the world. But as young people come up, they're not growing up with a remote in their hand. They're growing up with a phone in their hand. So like we really need to make sure that we're distributing content in a form factor, in a tone that they want to, you know, engage with. And that sometimes means we have to produce different content for different people because we can't, you know, for the person that's, you know, a median age on a cable platform or even ESPN Plus that's going to watch for 90 minutes at a time. That's a different type of user experience than watching like quick hitting highlights on TikTok or X or some content that we've been doing on YouTube. So we're excited to experiment with it. A lot of these platforms, as you know, they're also platforms that come through user generated content. So a lot of our upcoming stars, they kind of grew up on TikTok and X and YouTube, and they want to be content creators, and they kind of grew up with a camera phone facing this way, talking to their audience, engaging with their fans, and we want to embrace that. And I think that, you know, as sports fans become you know, more and more devoted, they watch more content across different platforms. So we just want to make sure we have something for everybody.
Well, it is amazing, this content creator 9-hole golf matches that you instituted. It started last year before the Tour Championship at East Lake, a 9-hole match on Wednesday. We saw it at the Players Championship on golf. It was at the Truist Championship, the Cricket Club. You're going to have one more at the Tour Championship again. How are those working, Chris? Because, you know, I find that fascinating. These content creators have created these incredible platforms where they have millions and millions of followers, and they love golf, and they go out and play it. I mean, it seems like a win-win. Are you happy with the results?
We're really happy. You know, for us, when we started down the path of trying it at the Tour Championship last year, we got approval from our leadership team to say we're going to invite 16 YouTube content creators to play the golf course a few days before, even the day before the Tour Championship or the day before one of our events. And we picked the Tour Championship because there were only 30 players. There wasn't a full field of 120 or 144. And, you know, typically the course on Wednesday afternoon is pretty quiet. So we wanted to use that as an experiment. But our goal for any of these was to create a platform, meaning the tournament itself, for this diverse group of people who make their living on YouTube and X and Instagram and TikTok that reach a totally different audience than we do. In some cases there's crossover, but get these content creators producing content that would not have existed if we didn't have them on the golf course that day, right? If you think about what happened at the Players Championship, we had Trent from Barstool Sports, the Foreplay Pod. I think he's like a 15 or 16 handicap playing the big boy tees uh, on the back nine of the stadium course, and the shots that he hit were incredible content. He hit four balls in the water on 17. The crowd was saying, one more time, like, come on, Trent, let's do this. And he finally hit it on for his fifth shot. I think he made an 11 or a 12. But like the goal for us, we couldn't have scripted that, right? The goal for us was to get his passionate fans, the passionate fans of Barstool Sports, to be on the golf course right before we were about to play. And now these guys are kind of talking about the tournament over the next 4 days, and they often wear Players Championship shirts, and like they're fans of us and we have a good relationship with the Barstool guys. It was really just to kind of create content and let things happen organically. And, some of that resulted in the same way at Tour Championship last year and at Philly Cricket a couple weeks ago. Tyler Toney from Dude Perfect hold this amazing flop shot on one of the final few holes, and the crowd went nuts. And, just for him and their 60 or 70 million fans, like they kind of get to see Tyler do something he doesn't normally do. So that was really the goal. And, we have a partnership with YouTube where we stream it live on YouTube as well as some other platforms. YouTube is the title sponsor of that series, the Creator Classic presented by YouTube. And the part of the goal is to do it live and just sort of see how many people we can kind of, attract to the pregame show effectively for the tournament that's about to take place over the next 4 days. But it's really the each of the 10 creators or 16 creators, however many people we have on the golf course, they're all bringing their own cameras and documenting their experience. And over the time between them teeing it up that day and the couple of days following, they're releasing dozens of other videos that's reaching those different pockets of audience. Tisha Allen was a content creator that played in the Players Championship. She has a totally different audience than the Barstool guys or Eric Anders Lang, and we're really trying to tap into just get these moments out there in a way that's going to resonate with a bunch of different golf fans.
Chris, it's really genius, and it's something you had to do. I mean, because listen, 50, 60, 70-year-old people who love the PGA Tour and go back to Arnie and Jack and Tom Watson, they're not going to get into this. But that's not, you got to look to the future. And was it difficult as you were coming up with this plan to sit down with other people at the PGA Tour and convince them this is the way to go? Because other sports leagues are doing this, the NFL, et cetera. I mean, you had to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great opportunity. I think we positioned the whole thing as a test at the Tour Championship. And once we saw the numbers, the fan feedback, the feedback from creators, the interest from sponsors, those were 4 really important boxes that we needed to check. We then kind of greenlit the show 3 different times in 2025. So I think, the PGA Tour and our leadership team is super open to trying new things. And, we may fail at some things, we may hit home runs at others. And I think that as we look to build on this whole content creator space, the product may evolve in the future. And, we're going in eyes wide open right now. We're focused on what happens in the Tour Championship. Once we finish that, we'll kind of look ahead and figure out what works, what doesn't in 2026 and beyond. And, we know that this movement of YouTube golf and, content creators that start as content creators who happen to be good golfers is, it's a really positive thing for fan growth. Our players are kind of leaning in. You saw, Scotty Scheffler's played a few matches with some of these guys like Trent Horvat, Bob Does Sports, and Foreplay. They all interact with PGA Tour players in our tournaments in different kind of ways, and they're really part of the fabric of our game now. And it's exciting, and it's an awesome opportunity to reach young people and kind of showcase the sport in a different way.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And I guess, has your research shown, and it's obvious, young people, they don't want to sit down for 3 or 4 hours on a beautiful Saturday afternoon inside. In the summertime especially, they want to watch everything on their phone, even if it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 13 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, right? That's what the research has shown, exactly, isn't it?
Well, it's sort of, we think about it as a fan funnel, right? Like what we're trying to do is get people into the top of the funnel and get them interested in watching a little bit of PGA Tour. And
Gotcha.
regardless of demographics, like the hardcore fans, they tune in for a long period of time. Like our cable audience, our broadcast audience, and our ESPN Plus audience that is all live golf, that has continued to get younger over time. So it's really we got to find ways to get to convert someone from a casual golf fan into a hardcore PGA Tour fan that's going to watch for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes at a time. And if they're the type of golf fan that doesn't want to watch on a Saturday or Sunday, we've got social highlights for them. We've got YouTube content for them. We've got a free ad-supported television network across 13 different platforms, which is heavily young skewing and not a traditional cable or broadcast audience. So we're trying to really put our content in places where fans are already expecting other sports content, other news content, other entertainment, and really just meet them with something that gets them one step into being a hardcore PGA Tour fan that's going to tune in, on Sunday, the Players Championship, or buy a ticket to a tournament and come watch.
Chris, was it following the Tiger era, and Tiger just isn't playing much anymore for a lot of reasons, injuries, etc. And that was such a high point for the PGA Tour because there's only one Tiger Woods, right? Just like there was only one Michael Jordan in the NBA, and they obviously that was a major high for the NBA at that time. Following the Tiger era, there has to be a dip in ratings, etc. But again, at the beginning, we talked about the ratings upswing. It just seems like all that you've just discussed, social media, these young players and stars like Scottie Scheffler is 28 years old. Rory's only 35. Justin Thomas came out a year ago and urged other players, hey, we need to start doing more on social media, doing more to promote the sport. I mean, it just seems like everybody's all in now, and you kind of picked up where Tiger left it. And have you raised the bar? How would you say post-Tiger how you're doing right now?
I think we're really proud of where we are as a tour and as a sports organization. What's drastically different between now and the 2000 to 2010, or when Tiger started in 96, 97,
Right,
is just the quantity of guys who can win majors, guys who can win FedEx Cups, guys who can win the Players Championships, guys who can win and compete. It's so hard to win. It's so hard to get onto the PGA Tour. It's so hard to make a college team these days, right? Like everybody that's playing for any decent Division I program is, a +2. They're all trying to qualify for the U.S. Open. Like,
right.
it's just so much harder than it was back then. And now, we're listening to our fans through our fan forward efforts, and we are taking steps to make our fields a little bit smaller, which will improve pace of play, improve the product on television and on site when you're there. The tournaments, like the signature events, they're down to like 75 to 80 player fields. It's just everything is so much harder at the same time that the guys have gotten so much better. It's really, really competitive. And there is no Tiger Woods. There's no other Tiger Woods. He's a once in a lifetime athlete, like a cultural icon of the sport, or any sport for that matter. But we're looking at guys like Scottie, who's 28, even guys like Ludwig Aberg. Like everybody knows that guy's going to win many more times on the PGA Tour and could win majors. And he's like 24 or something like that. And there's guys that are coming up. More guys every single year are coming up. And we think that our tour, the way the PGA Tour set up, is the most pro-competitive, difficult. You've got to be on your A game all the time to keep your card and qualify for the best and biggest events. And that's really what's different about the PGA Tour 15 or 20 years ago.
Yeah, I love it. I love where it was. I love where it's going. And all the guys you mentioned, I just think it's phenomenal. It's funny, I was on a show the other day, and just yesterday, and somebody asked me, do you think Scottie is going to catch up with Tiger's 15 majors and Jack's 18? And I gave him a Keith Jackson and said, whoa, Nelly. Let's it's harder now to win majors than ever before, and what he's doing is phenomenal. But let's not totally get ahead of ourselves. But I think that just generates excitement. Everybody's talking about it, and I think that's a positive. Hey, tell me this, because when the NFL debuted Hard Knocks, we'd never seen anything like that in sports production, going inside and following people around at their homes, in the facility. You had all this inside audio and video. It was great. And now the PGA Tour, you guys have kind of picked up on it. Full swing. I love the series you had with Scottie at the beginning of the year. Xander had that was kind of a nice series for him. I mean, obviously, what you guys are producing, we've talked about the YouTube and obviously the live programming, but these productions you guys are putting together, Chris, they're pretty impressive. You got to be very happy with that.
We are. Full Swing has been an awesome project to work on with Netflix and our production partners, Pro Shop Studios, Vox Media Studios, and all of our other partners that are part of that show, including the four majors and the Ryder Cup. Our goal at the beginning of this, even before Netflix and Drive to Survive kind of launched, like we used Hard Knocks as the original model. To say we have been a professional sports tour, a super competitive traveling circus on the PGA Tour that distributes content all over the world to the best media partners in the US, but everything kind of starts and stops from the golf course. And we wanted to find a way to tell some of these stories off the golf course. Like what makes guys like Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Keegan Bradley tick? What's their family life like? What struggles are they going through? And I think Full Swing especially, Box to Box and Pro Shop have done a great job kind of unearthing some of those stories and telling what it's really like to play on the PGA Tour. Our Scotty Scheffler documentary, Scotty 24, was actually up for an Emmy tonight. So by the time this airs, we'll know whether we won the Emmy or not. But really, those shows are really down to access. Like how much does a family or a team want to let cameras in and kind of lift up the curtain a little bit on what their life is like? And I think that Netflix and all the production crews and PGA Tour studios that have been part of Full Swing have done a great job of that. Kind of like lifting up the curtain just a little bit to show fans what it's like to practice, to go through struggles, to beat cancer in the case of Gary Woodland,
Right.
To know what it's like inside a team room like the President's Cup. We want to do more of this stuff like that. That's sort of the unique and challenging thing about our sport is that we don't have 100 years of history of like Liverpool Football Club or 30 or 40 or 50 years of history like the Seattle Seahawks. Like there's not this fandom around a team, right? People are fans of the sport, they're fans of the PGA Tour, they're fans of individual players. So our best way to unlock these guys' lives is really to kind of let them get to know someone personally. Like Joel Damon's been one huge character in season 1, season 2 of Full Swing, and people have gotten to know his caddy and his wife and
Right.
just what it's like to have the ups and downs in the PGA Tour. And like he has grown his fan base based on something like Full Swing, and we want to do more of that.
And Chris, the other thing that I absolutely love, and obviously I've been out there a long time, but the drone shots that were implemented by the television networks have added a whole new perspective visually. I mean, it is awesome. And obviously the audio. I think fans obviously love the player caddy banter back and forth. If you're a golfer, you love that. I mean, they
Yep.
give you intel. But wouldn't you agree? I mean, the drone shots are just, I mean, it's instead of just being on the tower with the lockdown camera, these drones that are flying around. I mean, it has opened up avenues. I think it's grown the game in its own right.
It has, and again, like part of this massive research project and iteration of this research project will be going over time. We call Fan Forward. We're talking to our fans, different segments of our fan base who watch a ton of PGA Tour golf, who watch just a little bit of PGA Tour golf, and two very consistent things that we heard from them is more caddy player audio, more audio in general, and more beauty shots that are kind of part of the competitive story. And that's hard to do from a Goodyear blimp. But when you've got a moving drone that can be synced up in real time with TrackMan technology or whatever radar we happen to be using that week, it's a game changer. Like to see some of those shots at Pebble Beach or Sawgrass, It was awesome. Like you've never seen those before as a golf fan. And huge credit to John Friedman and Alex Turnbull on our production team to kind of bring those things to life with CBS and NBC. And we want to continue to do more of that experimentation.
And Chris, I got to ask you this. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention PGA Tour Radio. I'm wearing the shirt because I wanted to pump our guys. 21 years ago, Chris, the 2004 Bell South Classic at Sugarloaf, TPC Sugarloaf in Atlanta. Zach Johnson won, by the way. That was my first event calling play-by-play for PGA Tour Radio. 14 or 15 years now for PGA Tour Live, doing all sorts of stuff for you guys. But the radio was interesting, Chris, because 21 years ago, people would ask me, like, you're doing golf on the radio? And they would have this look on their face like, I don't get it. Now, Chris, people stop me and they're like, We listen to you guys all the time. It's a staple, much to the chagrin of my wife, most of the people say, the men say. But I thought radio, I love the way we have grown over 2 decades. And obviously that's all part of this whole media conversation we're having.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge audience and super, super passionate. You know, the US more than any other country has tons and tons of drivers, people that drive long distances, truckers, people that commute to work 45 minutes each way. And we know that core golf fans all have PGA Tour radio. And there's super diverse programming on our channel, SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio. Huge credit and shout out and thank you to Taylor Zarzer, our channel's GM, and Andrew Moss and Scott Greenstein for this partnership that we have. But we produce 24 to 30 hours of live play-by-play coverage on SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio every week. In partnership with SiriusXM, we've got 40 or 50 hours of live audio call-in shows and different talk shows and preview shows and post-game shows. And it's an awesome channel. And if you think about it, like, golf is a really hard sport because it's so visual to cover with live audio play-by-play, but you guys kill it. You guys do the best job in the world. And we appreciate all your support.
Well, Chris, I mean, it's obvious. Listen, golf is one of those unusual sports, a niche sport, obviously, but so many people play it. And, you could be a fan of the National Football League, but not many people get to play the National Football League. The great thing about golf is we're playing the same courses as the best players in the world. I mean, we're playing Quail Hollow if you want to, and that's where Scotty Scheffler won last week. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know. The relationship between the golf fan and the best players in the world is something very unique, and only golf can bring that to the table.
It is. And, not everybody gets to play Quail Hollow, but everybody can play TPC Sawgrass.
Yes.
It's a public golf course. You can play the same tees as the pros if you want. You can play the exact same equipment. You can wear the same stuff. And you can't do that in other sports. You can't drive an F1 car. You can walk onto the field of, Husky Stadium or the Jag Stadium here in Jacksonville, but you can't play against in the same conditions. In golf, you can do that. So it's this weird, awesome blend of history, tradition, modern technology, advancing technologies, and people that play the game who appreciate how good these guys are who play on the PGA Tour. It's just an awesome experience and something awesome to be part of.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm honored and humbled to have been doing it for so long. I love the game. It's part of my core. And the fact that I've been out there following guys like Tiger up to Scotty now, walking inside the ropes, has just been one of those incredible things in my career. So I really appreciate it. Chris, we appreciate the time. You're on the cutting edge of some very, very cool stuff. And I appreciate your ingenuity and thinking ahead. That's one of the great things that you bring to the table. I guess that's something you always have to do. You always have to think ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of opportunities and challenges ahead, and we're gonna just continue to try and innovate and go as fast as we can and take care of our core fans, the ones that are most loyal and long-term fans for us. But at the same time, we have to build the future of this sport and in this game. And we couldn't do it without our great partners like you guys and all of our media partners. And just it's fun to live and breathe every single day.
Hey, Chris, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'll see you at a course coming up here very soon. And good luck on the Emmy. I hope you guys win. Something tells me you're going to win an Emmy on that
I hope
Scotty
so.
Scheffler show.
Good luck to the guys in New York tonight.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate your time.